Right, National Autism Week, 03453 00 Spoke to Alison before the news about the difficulties that she and her son Louis are experiencing trying to get a job. And let's now pursue this. Alex Manners, 20 years old, listens to the show. He's contacted me personally. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, mate. Thanks for listening and thanks for contacting. You have Asperger's syndrome. How does that differ from autism?
Well, Asperger's is a form of autism, so it's on what is called the autistic spectrum.
Right.
Where there are a number of different conditions like ADHD, OCD. And Asperger's is on the lower end of the spectrum.
Okay.
And I've had it since, well, I've always had it really, but I was diagnosed when I was about 9 or 10, so in about year 5.
Alex, just if you can think back, what did your mum and dad worry about when you were 9 or 10 that they took you to the doctors? What symptoms were you displaying that they were maybe confused about?
Well, I think I struggled a lot at my primary school, and I don't think I really, conformed a lot, and I always used to get really stressed going in every day, and I'd get quite anxious, and I'd get stressed really easily over really small things. And I think through a number of those things that they could see and they thought, well, maybe he has got autism, and they hadn't really heard of it back then. And it was through, I think, one of my mum's friends who had a daughter with it, or they knew someone who had it, and they said, oh, look, you should get him taken to see if he's got autism. And they found out that I had autism and Asperger's.
And do you remember, I don't suppose you do, but I don't know whether you've spoken to them since, about how they reacted to that news?
No, I haven't. I mean, I remember when I went into the clinic and I had all the tests for autism, and it was obvious that I had it. And I think it's something that's, I mean, in families, it's something that's passed down and it can be inherited. And I know a lot of my family members they've never been diagnosed, but probably if they were, they would find that they've got autism as well, and Asperger's.
Really?
Some
of your family members, how interesting. And what symptoms do they display that makes you think
well,
that, Alex?
One of my uncles, we almost certainly think has got OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, where he likes to have everything in the exact place. He has his socks rolled up in the exact same way in his drawer, and he likes to have every cupboard shut, and everything's got to be in its place. But
and that's a form of autism.
That's a form of autism.
Didn't realise.
And I display certain similarities to that. I mean, in my bedroom, for instance, like all my pens, all my books are aligned immaculately, and even if one little thing is out of place, I can tell straight away that someone's moved. Even just like you say, a pen or
really
just a little crease in my bed, and I can just tell that.
Have you seen that film Misery?
No, I haven't.
No, there's a woman. It's a thriller, and I suggest you watch it because it's a guy who gets kidnapped by a woman who notices that he all of a sudden can leave his room when one of the little toy penguins has been moved slightly and put back in the wrong position.
Oh, wow.
And that's very similar to yourself.
Yes, but like I said, it can be passed down through families, and when my uncles, who are now about 50, 55, and my granddad, when they were younger, it wasn't really a known thing, so people weren't really diagnosed with it back then. But no. I think if they were to be assessed for it now, I think it would be found that one or two of my family members do have autism.
And Alex, you're concerned about your future, are you? Trying to get a job? Because I don't know whether you heard, before the 10 o'clock news, we spoke to a lovely woman from King's Heath who was calling on behalf of her son, Louis, who is also 20 years of age.
Yes. I mean, I know a lot of people with Asperger's, a large proportion of those don't get into full-time employment. I think it's only about something like 20% that get full-time employment, and a lot of those are not sort of 9-to-5 jobs. But I think with me, I think one of the things I struggle with is wearing uniforms. So that would be one of the areas that I struggle with, because if I'm wearing dark colours, like a lot of uniforms are greys and blacks, I can feel quite almost depressed in a sense. And if I'm in colourful clothes, oranges, yellows, reds, then I feel really positive and I can conquer anything. So I think that would be one of the reasons. But also, I mean, a lot of people with autism struggle in social situations with being able to, eye contact, being able to start a conversation, and I'm very good at that, and that's something that
You are.
I'm lucky to have.
Well, Alex, I didn't know how to say this delicately, but listening to you talk and communicating with me personally, I wouldn't have had any idea that there was any sort of spectrum involved with the person I was talking to. Now, I hope that doesn't offend other family members of people with autism, or indeed people who are autistic, because you've just managed to talk to me very fluidly and fluently.
Yes.
And you would never have imagined. People have these preconceived ideas about what someone's going to be like when they understand that they have Asperger's.
Yes, and I've had that a lot when I go and meet new people. They always say, "Oh, I would have never have known you had autism." But I think for people with autism, everyone who has like I've got Asperger's and autism in general, everyone who has it is like a different piece of a puzzle. They're completely different. So the symptoms I might have will differ completely to the symptoms that my best friend would have, or the person in the next house who might have autism. And for me, I'm very, very good at speaking and talking to people, but I know a lot of people wouldn't. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter if you think or you don't know if I've got autism, because it's not something that something that people need to know, but it's something that it's just one of those things, really.
I mentioned, Alex, just finally, I mentioned to the lady before the news whose 20-year-old son, Louis, is looking for some form of job. What would you like to do? Because you're still a young man, Alex, and I remember you hit national headlines 2 or 3 years ago because you auditioned for Top Gear. And
Yes.
I remember looking at this character from Birmingham thinking, what an individual this guy is. And you just wanted a break, didn't you? And you didn't get
I did.
Yeah, exactly, and you never got the break. But what do you want to do, mate?
Well, my ambition is to be a television presenter, and especially in the areas of either sport or children's television. Absolutely. I love children's television and I love sport. But at the moment, I've started my own little production company doing promotional videos as a way to earn a bit of money, and also to maybe possibly a way of breaking into television.
Now, if that doesn't happen, I bet your mum and dad, who'll be listening to this, I'm sure, will be thinking, well, listen, I wonder whether we need a plan B. Do you have a plan B?
Well, my plan B is, like I said, I've got my own little company producing videos, and maybe I can go into having that business as a full-time career.
Okay.
And you never know, I could go into another company and do that kind of thing for them. So.
Okay. Well, you're a determined individual. Alex, listen, let's just tell people a little bit more about how they can discover what Alex Manners has to offer. What's your website?
My website is www.thealexmanners.com.
How are you spelling Manners?
Manners.
Okay. The Alex Manners.
The Alex Manners. And then I've got a YouTube channel called The Alex Manners, all one word.
Okay, mate.
As well.
Well, listen, thank you for contacting me, Al. Good luck, best of luck. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
No, thank you very much.